All right, so we're diving deep today into some music video lyrics and
Good.
specifically ArrDee's Cross the Line. And I'm thinking, like, we'll just go right into this because,
Yeah,
yeah,
then good.
it's super interesting to me how this song kind of tackles love and relationships.
Yeah.
And, we're looking specifically at the YouTube music video transcript, so we're going right to the source,
Right to the source.
the official lyrics.
Yeah.
And I think the big takeaway here is like this really push and pull, this kind of tension between saying like, I love you, I'm committed,
Yeah.
and then like totally undercutting that with like really selfish and shady behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's going to be so interesting to unpack here
Yeah.
is that tension. Because you're right, it's like this constant back and forth between I want to be with you, I love you,
Right.
but also I'm kind of doing all these things that say maybe I don't.
Totally. And so like right off the bat, we get this line, say that shit, like I mean it if I make you believe my word, but I'm keeping secrets. And it's like, okay, so are you being sincere or are you playing a part?
Yeah, that's really interesting, right? Because it suggests that maybe he wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
He wants her to believe him.
Yeah.
But then he's saying, but at the same time, I'm holding something back.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes you wonder, like, where does that come from? Is it a fear of being completely open?
Right.
Is it a lack of trust in her?
Yeah, or maybe even himself, like a lack of trust in his own ability
Oh.
to actually be truthful.
Yeah.
And then later on in the lyrics, you get this almost like opposite statement, like, all that you need is my word, then I'll probably keep it.
Right. And it's like, well, which is it?
Right? So confusing.
Yeah. Are you the keeper of secrets or are you going to be totally upfront and honest?
Right.
And I think what's really interesting about that too is that the first line that you brought up kind of suggests that maybe he's aware that he's not being totally truthful.
Yeah.
But then you get to this other one where it's like, well, maybe he actually does believe
Right.
that he's going to keep his word,
It's like he wants to be that guy.
Totally. Yeah. And I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Totally.
We want to be seen as trustworthy and reliable,
Right.
but sometimes our actions don't necessarily match up with that.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes me think about the whole idea of trust in relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if you can't even trust someone to be honest with you about basic things,
Right.
how can you build something real and lasting?
Yeah. And how can you trust yourself
Yeah.
even to know when you're being genuine and when you're not?
Right.
And I think that's kind of what he's grappling with here.
Totally. Totally. And then on top of all that, you get these lines where he's basically admitting to some pretty bad behavior.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like there's this one, take perfect for me and ruin her purpose when she doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. And it's not even just like he's doing wrong. It's like he knows it's wrong and he's still doing it.
Right. And then he has that line later on, in a selfish world, it's me I'm serving.
Right. Which kind of almost tries to justify it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's trying to say, well, everyone else is selfish.
Right.
So it's okay that I am too.
Right.
But I don't think that really holds up.
No, not really.
Because you still have the choice
Right.
to be a good person even if other people aren't.
Totally. And it kind of makes you wonder if he's even capable of like really caring for someone else in
Yeah.
a way that puts their needs before his own.
It makes you question his capacity for empathy.
Yeah.
Like, can he actually understand and share
Right.
the feelings of another person?
Totally. And then there's this like recurring question that keeps popping up in the lyrics, like almost like a challenge.
Okay.
You don't know what love is. It's repeated a few times.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a direct question. Do you know what love is?
Right.
And it's like, is he really asking? Or is it more of a way to deflect?
I think it could be both.
Yeah.
Maybe he genuinely doesn't understand what love is. Maybe he's never experienced it in a healthy way.
Right.
But it also could be a way of shifting the blame.
Yeah.
Saying, well, you don't know what love is either, so you can't judge me.
Right. And then there's that other line, like, wouldn't do this if you did.
Right.
Which is like this really interesting
Oh, yeah.
take on it. It's like he's saying, if you truly loved me, I wouldn't be acting this way.
Right, which is a pretty messed up thing to say.
Totally.
Because it's basically putting the responsibility for his behavior
Yeah.
on her.
Right.
As if her love has the power to control him.
Yeah. And then there's this other layer, too, where it's like, well, maybe he's right.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Maybe if she really did love him, he would feel more secure and wouldn't need to act out in these ways.
Right. So it really gets into this complex question of, like, what is love and what is its role in
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, like, is love supposed to fix all our problems?
Right. Is it a magical solution
Right.
to all of our insecurities and bad habits?
Totally. And then just to make things even more complicated, you have these really rapid emotional shifts in the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he goes from saying, like, you don't want to leave her,
Right.
to, like, straight up, freak, I hate you, give me my keys back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, almost immediately after that, it's, hug me, where's my squeezer?
Yeah, it's like whiplash.
Yeah, like, what is even happening here?
It really speaks to the volatility of the relationship
Right.
and maybe even immaturity.
Yeah.
You know, like not being able to regulate emotions in a healthy way.
Right.
Just kind of swinging from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, and, like, is this supposed to be passionate or is it just chaotic?
Yeah, I mean, passion can be exciting,
Yeah.
but it needs to be balanced
Right.
with some kind of stability and consistency.
Right. Like, you need to know that the person you're with
Yeah.
is going to be there for you even when things get tough.
Exactly.
Not just, like, hot and cold all the time.
Right.
And then there's this other part where he's, like, reoccurring claim I'm changing.
Yeah.
But then it's met with this skepticism from the other person, like, can you be trusted and will you always be like this?
Yeah, that's $1 million question right there.
Exactly.
Like, how many times have we heard someone say they're going to change?
Right.
And then they don't actually follow through.
Totally. And it's like, at what point do you stop giving someone the benefit of the doubt?
Right. Especially when their actions keep contradicting their words.
Right.
It really makes you wonder if he's even sincere about wanting to change.
Yeah. Or if it's just something he says to get her off his back.
Totally.
And then on the other hand, like, if you're the person who's been hurt over and over again, how do you even open yourself up to the possibility that someone can actually change?
It's a tough one.
It is.
It's like a delicate balance between protecting yourself
Right.
and also allowing for the possibility of growth.
Yeah. And maybe even, like, recognizing that even if they do change, it might not erase the past.
Right.
And you still have to decide if that's something you can live with. And then just when you think you've got them all figured out,
Yeah.
he throws in these lines that sound almost genuinely sincere.
Right.
Like, baby, I know that now, believe me. I mean, I knew that already, I'm ready, I promise you'll never regret it. And then there's that other one, I do know what love is. I'll give you a stunt. I don't know nobody tight like us.
Right.
And it's like, wait, is he for real this time?
I know. It's like, can we believe him now
Yeah.
after everything we've heard?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that he's having a moment of genuine realization.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that he's just really good at saying the right things to get what he wants.
Yeah. And that phrase, I'll give you a stunt,
Oh, yeah.
is kind of interesting too.
It is, yeah.
Because it almost makes it seem like love is a performance.
Yeah, like a show that he's putting on for her.
Right, which kind of undermines the whole idea of it being genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, after this whole deep dive into ArrDee's lyrics,
Yeah.
we end up with this really complicated picture of a relationship
Mm-hmm.
that's full of contradictions and self-interest and this, like,
That's right.
constant questioning of what love even means.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so relatable.
Right.
Because I think a lot of us have been in relationships
Yeah.
where we're trying to figure out what love is
Yeah.
and how to make it work,
Totally.
even when it's messy and complicated.
Yeah, and it's like those messy, complicated relationships are often the ones that
Yeah.
we're most drawn to.
So sure.
So it's like this weird paradox.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I guess the big question for you listening is like,
Mhm.
after hearing all this, what do you think?
Yeah.
What's the role of honesty in building a lasting connection?
Yeah.
And is this kind of love something you recognize, or is it more of a cautionary tale?
Mm-hmm.
Lots to think about.
Definitely.
Thanks for diving deep with us,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.
See you.
Bye.